Learning that the sales data for passenger vehicles, for two-wheelers, for white goods as it's known, air conditioners, refrigerators, etc. The sales data as well as the impact of GST 2.0 will be released during this briefing that's going to be done by the three ministers. The finance minister will show how the ease of slabs and rates of GST help the consumers as well as the industry, while the Commerce Ministry will present a report card on the various FTAs that India has undertaken. Remember, India and the UK signed that FTA when the Prime Minister was in Britain back in July. India is very much in advanced stages of negotiations with the European Union. In fact, all the 20-plus European commissioners will be coming to India very soon, possibly in January, to seal the deal between India and the European Union's FTA. In fact, some of them will be invited as chief guests for the Republic Day celebrations, is what we're understanding. And it comes at a time when the negotiations with the United States are also, we're given to understand, in its final stages. But with the US, you never know because of the Trump factor. But let me go to Pallavi on this. Pallavi, so we're getting a sort of brief idea now of what each of these ministers will be presenting in terms of a report card for the month gone by, and what they believe is the increased uptick in consumer and sales activity because of reduced GST.
Absolutely, Zaka. I think the key message which is going out from the government today during the press conference, after the press conference, is to both the consumers and industry, you really have nothing to worry about. You know, when there was a certain amount of cynicism, I remember when even GST 2.0 was announced, whether it's actually going to percolate down to the benefits. Will the benefits go to the people, or will the manufacturers will only benefit from it? I think the first crunch of the data which was released by the Finance Ministry initially, which showed in the first 10 to 15 days and the Navratra sales that indeed the benefit went to the consumers. Otherwise, why would they go out, spend their money buying cars? You know, there were many people who thought they're going to buy a two-wheeler during the Navratras. They ended up buying a four-wheeler. So which is why the Maruti sales were up, and Hyundai, all of them, Honda, all of them came out with their sales figures which showed that there was a spike in consumer demand and purchases. That would not have happened if GST 2.0's benefit did not accrue to the consumers. That was always the biggest challenge. She did mention that in her interview to us also, to Rahul Joshi, that this is going to be our biggest challenge. We have to monitor this. Well, the ministry has been monitoring it. Several councils were set up across the country. Reports were being given to the Finance Ministry, forwarded to the Prime Minister's office, that whether the benefits have gone to the consumers. That certainly has been the first indication. And I think the Finance Minister will make a reference to it. Possibly she has been, she will do so now also. The Commerce Minister, of course, has been facing a lot of challenging times. Lots of naysayers, pot shots coming in from the opposition party, particularly the Congress. He's replied to that we again have nothing to worry about. India stands resilient, national interest first, and the EU kind of FTA you're talking about, that's not the only one. We've negotiated successfully with UK, with EFTA as well. Apart from that, for example, lychees, or jamuns, all of them going to new countries, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all of those. So we've tapped new markets, new products, so as to tell America and also the world that India does have alternatives. So I think those are the main takeaways which we are going to get from the press conference, which I think is going to begin in around 15 minutes' time.
All right. In fact, it is also coming at a time when the negotiations with the United States are at an advanced stage. It is also in a tricky phase because you never know with Donald Trump, just like last time. We're given to understand that the negotiators had thrashed out a final deal, but when it went to Trump's desk, he threw a googly by announcing the reciprocal tariffs, and then, of course, subsequently in late August, the secondary tariffs on buying Russian oil. So let me go back to Aman Sharma. Aman, so obviously the government wants to show the picture and paint the picture that, look, whatever shocks there might be because of the Trump tariffs and this unresolved issue of not having clinched a trade deal with the United States, all of that is getting mitigated by record sales. Where are we on those negotiations itself, and how much is the government confident that if not a full deal, but at least an interim trade arrangement can be arrived at with the US very soon, possibly in the next few weeks?
Oh, well, yes, Zaka, and as we speak, the ministers have started arriving inside the NMC. Within about 10 minutes, we'll see the press conference also begin. But on your first question, yes, there has been this big concern in India of the 50% tariffs imposed by the US. It continues to be imposed, and India has made it very clear that, it will not bow to these pressure or these bullying tactics. And the GST cuts in one way are also to, I think, project that sentiment that the country is resilient, country is Atmanirbhar, self-sufficient. The Prime Minister has led that campaign, saying that in the Swadeshi campaign that Indians should adopt Swadeshi goods, and the GST cuts, it's making it easier for people to buy these goods also at cheaper prices, be it cars, be it our high-end electronics, air conditioners, TVs, or be it even textiles, which have seen a big GST cut. So I think the government is making it very clear that it is not going to impact us so much if we are resilient. If we go for Swadeshi and Atmanirbharta, the Trump tariffs will have a very limited impact on our GST. Also, very smartly, Zaka, what the government is doing, that the GST cuts are also being projected politically. The Bihar elections coming up, we have seen the Prime Minister speak at least on 3 to 4 occasions already that the GST cuts are like a double Diwali dhamaka, for the people of Bihar. Because first you have seen lower prices coming in from GST, and now, when the election results come, this impacts the common man. The common man's kitchen budget, has reduced, the budget has reduced, and they are able to buy more goods. And that is something that the government wants to really say. I saw Amit Shah also yesterday at a rally in Bihar say this, that, Diwali has come early for people of Bihar with these GST cuts. You are going out and spending much more money. And that is what I think the government's feedback also is. Some figures that I have, in fact, very clearly says that, India sees the highest Navratri sales in 10 years, boosted by GST. Maruti Suzuki, the car maker, India's biggest car maker, saw Navratri sales grow by 100%. This time it was doubled from last year. In fact, Maruti reported nearly 3.5 lakh bookings just in the Navratri period. We may get an updated figure today of the entire 4-week period till now when this press conference begins. But very, very clearly the government saying Maruti Suzuki, Hyundai, Mahindra, everybody is reporting high sales, even higher. LG, the electronic companies, reporting very high sales of air conditioners, of televisions, and all this is also expected to spur growth and, help us tide over whatever impact the 50% tariffs of Mr. Trump could cause to India.